The great state of Texas is home to two teams from the Overwatch League, the highest level of competition in Overwatch esports, and debate about which is better has raged since their inception over multiple concepts, constructs, arenas, and contexts. But today we are here to find out who truly is the best team in Texas. This is the Lone Star Showdown. My name is Mitch Leslie. I'm joined here by Jake Lyon, a Houston Outlaws alumni, to put these players through their paces and to find out the very best from the Lone Star State. Jake, how you doing? Great to have you back here with me for week 2.
Great to be here. I'm excited to see if the Outlaws can turn this around. Those first two series we saw last week were incredibly close. Almost every game going down to the wire, even many sets individually, even maps going down to the wire. So I think these teams are very closely matched. Scoreline doesn't reflect that quite yet, though. So Fuel, they're looking really great going into the 6-on-6 match. They already have 2 map picks under their belt. It would be awesome for them to earn one more or even a second. If they could go in with a clean set of maps, just dictating the pace of the 6-on-6, that would be so huge.
It would be a gigantic advantage to come in with. Here is your format, though. The tournament consists of 2 phases. We are still in phase 1 currently, but we have our small team challenges for series 1 through 4. We begin with series 3 today that feature 1v1 and 3 versus 3 game modes. Following that, next week, we have our Battle for Texas, our finale event. It's a standard 6v6 with competitive rules, the same that you will see in the Overwatch League. Phase 1 that we're currently in is where players are competing for the map choices in the finale. And of course, we talked about how big a difference it makes, Jake, to have the ability to choose maps. Normally, they're more arbitrarily chosen and teams just had to be prepared for them. But getting to pick where you're strong is such a big bonus. Of course, the players are competing for map choices and ultimately for this trophy. Big shout out to Samsung. Always gaming, always Texas. Stay connected and stay gaming with Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. That is the trophy. And of course, the bragging rights on the line, Jake. It's a big deal. This head-to-head, I mean, you as a player, I'm sure you experienced it. It was always a big deal when you were going up against Dallas Fuel.
Well, I mean, the fans are so passionate about this matchup. It's such a storied matchup. I mean, you go to any sport, any league, you'll find some serious rivalries within Texas, right? It's such a state with such a well-known personality, such a huge personality. So of course both groups of fans, want to be known as the dominant team of Texas. So it's awesome that we get this chance to really settle it. I wouldn't say once and for all, but for the moment. I think this is a matchup that I look forward to continuing to see throughout the Overwatch League and throughout more of these challenges.
Oh, it'll be going in perpetuity for sure. Speaking of our big personalities, here's the Houston Outlaws roster. Blase, Boink, Dante, Hydration, Jexa, and Linksa, as well as Meko, Muma, Rappel, Raucus, and Spree. These are Houston Outlaws players yet to get themselves a map pick for the finals. Yep, we'll see if that changes today. On the other side of the coin, their opponents, the Dallas Fuel, features AKM, Closer, Crimzo, Decay, Doha, Gamsu, Harry Hook, Note, Trill, Unco, and Zachary. So far, they've looked very good in the small team challenges, the 1v1s and the 3v3s. But in fairness, a lot of these series are going to decider matches inside the 1v1s and 3v3s. We are taking the best players on some of their best heroes, pitting them against each other first in our 1v1s, and then, of course, we will take small sectors of each team in the 3v3 with 1 support, 1 DPS, and 1 tank to see you can come up and craft the best compositions in a rolling format. Let's have a look at today's matches, though, Jake, and set our eyes forward to what we have to look forward to. So Series 3 and 4 are today. We will have our 1v1s in Series 3, and then back to our 3v3s in Series 4. I mean, it's kicking off with the DPS players, which is going to be great. Is there any particular 1v1 that you're looking forward to?
Well, I think we're about to start off with an absolute banger here. It looks like on the cards it's going to be Doha and Dante taking each other on. So last time we saw Dante take on Decay in a Tracer 1v1 that was incredibly explosive and very hard to cast. But I think it'll be a little bit easier. I'd be expecting these players to not be on Tracer given that Doha's in. Maybe going to be bringing out the Echo, I think. That's going to be a duel that is truly explosive. I mean, both Echoes can annihilate each other in half a second, and there's no self-heal, there's no escaping. It's pretty much all in on that first kill.
You're exactly right. And of course, you should check out, of course, the companion series to this show airing on your local stations. That's where you can catch all of the action and get a bit of backseat or backstage tour, and also find out what maps the teams are actually choosing. So you can check that out on your local Texas stations, catch the companion show, and be up to date with all the developments here in the Lone Star Showdown. Jake, let's take a moment to dive a little bit deeper into the rule set for 1v1s and lay it out for viewers at home. While it may seem very simple at the face of it, each head-to-head with 2 players will be a best of 5 series. Now, they're best of 9 rounds. So, for example, we're going to have our first head-to-head, Dante versus Doha. That is going to be a best of 9. That will form one part of the best of 5 series, and we'll have multiple players rotating in to have their shot at trying to get their team a map pick. So we're going to jump straight in and waste no time heading into the map, Eco Point Antarctica. And like you said, Jake, it's going to be an Echo face-off. Tell us what we should expect from the newest hero to Overwatch.
The most important thing to know is that this is going to go very, very quickly. If you get below 200 HP, you're going to die to the focusing beam. There's no real 2 ways about it. It's going to be a duel in the skybox. You might see a little bit of posturing in the pre-fight. At long range, it's very difficult to land shots on Echo. So both players are going to be posturing. But as soon as there's an opening, Dante gets the better sticks there.
That was ridiculous. So a lot was happening there. You saw the tri-shots from long range, which have a distinct travel time and are hard to hit. But once a player decides to commit, that's where it blows up really quickly. Dante stuck Doha with a bunch of sticky bombs. Took him so low that a focusing beam was very easy. The focusing beam, of course, does extra damage to opponents if they're under 50% health. So you expect each round to be as quick as that, Jake, once they start fighting?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, maybe a little bit of initial posturing, time to get some spam damage, but it's not all that significant. The tri-shot isn't all that effective at long range, especially against flying targets like an opposing Echo. But if you can get those sticky bombs on the enemy Echo, get her below half, you immediately crush her with the focusing beam. And, you know, both these players are so sharp that things are never going to last long in a matchup like this.
Not only can Echo launch herself into the air, but she can also float there for quite some time and glide around. So it's they don't spend much time on the ground here. Dante takes some early damage. Remember, there's no self-healing available to these heroes, so whatever damage they take will stick. Whatever damage they take makes them closer to extra susceptibility to focusing beam. Doha looks like he's almost ready to go in for the kill, and yes, from long range, the beam, no, it doesn't connect. He has to do it with the tri-shot, but that early advantage, Jake, really manifested later in that head-to-head.
Yeah, Doha just got way better spam off in the long-range trade. I think if I'm Dante here, I want to get aggressive. I want to be taking these fights quick, you know, get in the close range where you're most comfortable. Doha is a really experienced projectile player, so I'm not surprised to see him having a bit of an edge at the long-range spam game. But, you know, by the same token, I think Dante being so used to Tracer and Genji and Sombra, these close-range heroes, I think that might be where he wants to play in the future, especially after taking that much spam, basically just dying exclusively to spam there from Doha. You know, both players showing how deadly they can be. This is not going to be a one-sided matchup.
For those wondering what spam is, of course, it is just continuous use of abilities without guarantee of connecting them just to try and catch the enemy. There's no rule opportunity cost for what we call spam. You just sort of keep using those abilities and hope to find a hit at some point. Dante gets Doha a little low now, so Doha's going to need a moment to sort of recover from this. No, pressured down. Fantastic stick. They are not easy to hit, Jake. I mean, get those sticky bombs on an enemy Echo. There is a distinct travel time to those two, and the enemy Echo is just floating in the air.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matchup where we saw the first round go very quick because Dante hit a pretty exceptional number of sticks. He got 3 or 4 on, but that is incredibly difficult to do. And if you get into close range, you know, you run the same risk of the enemy Echo doing that to you. So, but I like this play from Dante, though. In the close range, he seems to be very favored. I think that's where his strengths lie. So Doha might want to be playing this more passively, kiting back, getting space, and playing the spam game, whereas Dante wants to be contesting for the middle of the map.
Back on board with Doha once more. A bit of ground to make up. And he is playing fairly passively here. I think he feels once he moves into mid-range, he's at awful risk of getting caught. Look at him lead these tri-shots, though. That was perfect. Read Dante's flight pattern so effectively. Dante knows that he's dead. He's just standing still.
Yeah. Dante has no chance there. He was down at 13 HP in the Echo 1v1. It's not what you want. Yeah, Doha is the long-range play. This is tough for Dante. I mean, now it seems clearly established that Dante wants to be at the close range, playing on the corners. Doha wants to be playing the long-range spam game. It's how can each player like force their will on the game. You know, for Doha, he has to be passive, but Dante, if he wanted to be extremely patient, he could try and wait for the point to open, but that's a long time just dodging spam from Doha. It seems to be difficult to make it into that deep into the round on a hero like Echo.
Doha benefiting from a safer cadence here.
Hey there.
And let's see now if Dante tries to sort of cross the gap as quickly as he can. Nice sticky bombs. He's actually going to force Dante to take to the skies once more. Dante, yeah, he's trying to close the gap, using the mid pillar to sort of break line of sight and avoid taking that early damage. Doha's not giving him much. Couple sticky bombs there. Okay, down to 153. War of attrition is where Doha wants to put his chips right now.
Yeah, pretty wise by Doha to recognize that this is where he has his advantage strategically and to play passive in the round. I almost want Dante to bait him in, like just hide in the corner, force him to come near to you. I mean, the point will open eventually. It's requires a lot of patience, unfortunately, in the 1v1. I wish this mode had points open just a little bit quicker. But that might be what Dante needs to do. It seems that Doha so strong in these ranged duels, especially when Dante's pushing into him. It's a really difficult spot to be. As the defending Echo, it's much easier to land those projectiles on a player that's pushing towards you than vice versa. As you retreat, you're very difficult to hit with projectiles.
And as soon as the enemy gets low enough, that comes the focusing beam just to finish them off. So Dante now needs to find a way to traverse this rather large divide between him and his opponent and actually get in there without taking a ton himself. Already, though, some connections across the map. Doha extremely good with his primary fire here. And he's leading Dante very effectively, able to sort of predict. I mean, in fairness, Echo does glide down in a relatively predictable motion if her fly or if her flight ability isn't available. Doha takes a hit now as well. Sticky bomb connection. Back to the skies. The focusing beam came out so early from Doha. We knew we'd have the damage to get it done, and he's one round away from taking this.
Yeah, I don't think Dante was ready for that level of aggression, and Doha seems to have found his number in this matchup and taking quite a few rounds consecutively here. So we'll see if Dante has any answers. Doha is just so sharp on this hero. Kind of makes sense, right? Doha known as, you know, one of the best Pharah players in the Overwatch League, one of the best Junkrat players, plays Genji, Hanzo. He's really a storied projectile player, and also great at a hero like Sombra that's tracking heavy. So he's got a diverse skill set. It makes him perfect for a hero like Echo. So far, it's been Decay playing Echo mostly, I believe, in actual matches. But, you know, Doha's making a case for himself.
No doubt about it. Doha also cleverly actually just changing his approach mid-round in that last head-to-head. He switched to the aggressive, caught Dante off guard. He kind of felt that he was close enough. And again, the B, too good. And that'll be it. The Dallas Fuel and Doha take our first 1v1 of the day. And that'll get themselves one map in the series. Of course, that's a best of 5, so 2 more, and they will have another map pick. The Outlaws really need to start to find some form in these 1v1s, Jake. Otherwise, they are going to have a huge disadvantage right off the bat when it comes to our battle for Texas.
Yeah, definitely. Doha asserting his dominance here. Pretty respectable performance by him, getting his team a point in this series.
Well, now as we head towards our next head-to-head, there's some time for the Outlaws to consider some of their options. They know what they're going to be going with. It'll be a map change. It'll also be a player change. It'll give them a chance to maybe show off some of their other secret weapons, although Dante is definitely one of them. Want to quickly give a big shout out and thank you to Samsung, our presenting sponsor here. Without whom, this Lone Star Showdown would not be possible. So thank you very much, Samsung, for shining a light on some of the greatest talent coming out of that Texas area here in our Overwatch League teams. And Jake, coming up next is going to be a Roadhog head-to-head. We've seen Roadhog employed a fair bit in the 3v3s especially. I mean, tell us about what Roadhog offers and why he's such a strong hero in Overwatch in general.
Well, I mean, Roadhog was a pretty dominant hero in the past, really almost controlling the game for the first couple of years of Overwatch's release, but just took a lot of hits with the ugly stick, nerfed over and over and over again.
Let's be honest, he got smacked with that before he was released.
Yeah, right. I mean, the hero has taken a lot of punishment, still finds a couple of niche uses, shutting down the Wrecking Ball and in other circumstances. But I think in the 1v1, it's especially interesting to see the hero come out because the most important interaction is between the heal and the hook. Right? Because the hook is a stun ability, it cancels the opposing Roadhog's heal. You want to hook the enemy Roadhog out of a heal. So if you hook first, you're not going to be able to kill off the enemy Roadhog in one shot. They're going to be able to get a safe heal. And that can be a big deal. So actually throwing the hook early can lead to a defeat in the overall match. If you let the opponent get you low, then you can't use heal when they could just hook you and cancel it. So There's a lot of mind games in this matchup, and like some other matchups, I'd expect this first part to be all about trading spam, making the enemy Roadhog lower than you are, so they're in a position where they need to take the engagement, and you can, reactively play around it. Once that hook's down, the heal is free, and we might even see ultimates come out in this 1v1. This is one of the only 1v1s I think it's pretty common to see the whole hog charged up, and it'll almost always be at exactly the same time, because of course damage and heals are worth the same amount as far as charging your ultimate goes. So there can be some explosive final moments with the double whole hog.
Well, there you have it. Yeah, if the whole hog comes out, it's a powerful ability that does far more damage the closer the target is, and also knocks them back. So keep an eye on that one. Characters that also, use defensive abilities to prevent the knockback take full damage for that entire duration from whole hog, which makes it quite scary. So essentially, it's two large humans with shotguns and hooks. So we'll see that timing that you mentioned, Jake. Spree goes for that first hook. Note immediately goes into the take a breather. Spree uses his now, but he got it cancelled. Still, it doesn't matter. Look at him. He's so low. Jake, his heal got cancelled like you mentioned, and he's still able to win the fight somehow.
Yeah, just barely had enough HP from the heal to survive the hook from Note, but that's the margin you're working with. I think Note played that pretty well. I think Spree just had the early damage advantage and able to just barely get enough heals off. If that heal had been canceled 1 millisecond earlier, 10 milliseconds earlier, then he might not have had the HP to survive Note's first shot.
Spree is a prolific Roadhog player, and we often saw him subbed in sometimes where this team actually needed a Roadhog, which wasn't always that often, but when it happened, he was able to make big impact. So let's see what he can provide this round. And good start for him. Definitely more of a specialist player on the Houston Outlaws roster. Not a fixture in general, but a lot of this long-range scrap gun use is going fairly well. Both Spree and Note opt to take a breather for the time being, and Spree might want to try and hook off the map. Oh,
wait.
It's Spree going first, and Jake, we didn't really mention that while the hook can pull the enemy towards you, experienced Roadhog players can turn their camera or their view to actually cause the hook to pull someone on a protracted trajectory and not just straight towards you.
Yeah, I think Spree maybe feeling a little bit overconfident there, pushing up close to the edge.
Well, plenty more to come now as it's one apiece in this little best of 9. Note opting to flank around, whereas Spree will maintain positioning out in the open. He's trying to play close to the pit in the middle of the map. If he can hook Note into it, and it will be lights out. The Dallas Fuels flex tank player. The Note will creep over the high ground, and neither of these players right now know where they are. Note actually thinks Spree was under him. Now he's heard it. The jangling of the chain is a very big indicator of where the Roadhog is. He has one of the loudest set of footsteps in the game due to his bulk, which I'm sure Roadhog is proud of. Spree takes an early breather here, gets some health back. Note hasn't done so. Both of these players are just waiting till one another gets into each other's effective hook range, and that's where the real trades begin. Real patience here. Neither Roadhog can afford to miss any of these hooks. Note playing inside right now. Making enough sound to try and bait. Very hard to be remotely stealthy here as Roadhog. Note takes a hit early. That's a lot of damage. 155 to the face. He doesn't want to take a breather just yet, but he's behind in that damage count. The point will open up soon, but these two are playing with fire. They're playing around the pit in the middle of the map, and Note misses the hook. That could be dangerous. Goes for the take a breather. No, Spree can't hook him in. Now Spree is going to heal up. Note tries to damage him down, but Roadhog takes less damage while he's healing up. Spree timed that perfectly to put himself ahead in the damage and managed to get a little bit of health back. And now, Jake, it's 2-1, favoring the Outlaws.
Yeah, and as you said, that missed hook.
All right, well, a lot of the sequencing between these abilities is quite important. Spree will step forward, miss the first hook. Note takes his opportunity, gets Spree over the pit, and a good night, Sally. Spree knows exactly what went wrong there. Note knew that with the hook not available for Spree, he could step forward, play more aggressively, and all he has to do is connect the hook and jerk his camera to the left, pulling Spree in that trajectory. Spree in chat, not happy with that. Says, kill me like a man. But in fairness, I don't really know what that means, first of all. Secondly, Spree tried to do the same thing to him a couple of rounds ago. So the Belgian is starting to get a little bit mouthy here. And let's see if Spree can bring back some of these rounds. Maybe discretion, the better part of valor at times, which I know don't really seem to make a lot of sense given I guess the caricature that these two characters provide. There it is, Spree hooked in again. Gets the second hook though, and the old adage, never hook first, holds true in this case. It's 3-2 now, and the Houston Outlaws have themselves a lead here. Comments in chat from Note's team. Crimzo, also a Canadian, says that Note goes up into the tundras of Canada and practices his ice fishing. Clearly, the hook, something that he's very well versed in. I mean, let's be honest, there's absolutely no comparison. There's no similarity at all. I know Canadians can be hardcore, but I don't think anyone uses an anchor and drops it in to try to catch anything with, unless they've got 10 people with them to assist with pulling such a large piece of prey out of the ice. Okay. Note going to push up now by the main Necropolis, playing below the stairs. Again, just moving up and down the stairs makes it a little bit harder to hit him because the ramp into the Necropolis itself is hiding him from line of sight. Anything he can do to force an early hook from Spree, who takes an early heal. You see, he takes a breather, glows yellow for a moment. Spree now starting to play a little bit closer, wants to creep up on Note. It's 343 to 450, health favoring Note right now. Spree has to take a breather and get some of that back, but immediately more of that health is stripped away. Note careful, he didn't have time to go and take a breather, but he gets the second hook. It still didn't matter. Despite hooking second, Note didn't have a chance to get his heal. It was push. Great use of Spree. Great use by Spree of that window. He abused the fact that Note didn't have a chance to heal back up. And then he's going to be able to make his way through once more. 6 into the next round, and this may be it. Spree can actually get the Outlaws a map here in this series again. Give them a chance for a map pick. That's what they're looking for, and that's why they're being put through their paces now. Huge advantage when it comes to the actual Battle of Texas. And we're only just getting started.
Up significantly. I'm trying to finish this game off. I think just staying away from the pits for Spree, that's been the key here. No, that's been all of his successes, right? His 2 round wins have both been pit drops. So Spree just has to worry about that.
Playing more to his fundamentals, I guess, or the fundamentals of Roadhog, and Spree. Okay. Is he going to take a breather here? He does. He makes sure, though, that he's out of line of sight and can't be interrupted by a hook. Now, does he know where Note is standing? I think he has an idea, but he's in a somewhat compromising position. Note has the high ground. Spree took the only really possible route out of that little snafu. And now they'll try and trade damage amongst these pillars. But again, Spree looks always like the one who wants to come forward, Jake.
Yeah, you can see Note once again posturing around the pit. The place he's been so dominant thus far in the series. Ooh, Note breaks Spree's hook.
Hooks down. Note gets him. Spree waits out the hook, though. Both Roadhogs reset. Now, Spree has a window. Note's hook isn't going to be available for a couple of seconds now, and he does abuse the timing. Down the pit he goes. A sacrifice to whatever necrotic gods are worshipped in this location, and the Houston Outlaws will win our second 1v1. The Roadhog specialist, the Mad Doctor, Spree, will take the win.
Yeah, nice drop by Note, but then Spree takes a page out of his book, turns it back around. And that's a beautiful round win. As you said, Roadhog Specialist lives up to his name.
I just like that he saw the hook come from Note. He knew he was going to get hit by it. He waits to use his heal. As soon as the hook is over, he goes for it. And then he realizes, I have a real opportunity to abuse now the window where my opponent can't hook. And, Spree got a little bit testy about the fact that he was getting dragged into pits by Note, but eventually that was his MO in order to win the round. So if you can't beat them, join them. And Spree did both, in fairness, at the very end of it. I mean, Roadhog, we don't see much of, Roadhog in organized 6v6. A little bit recently, if you're watching the league, we've seen some Roadhog come out to punish a couple of compositions there. 1v1, though, it's a very different situation than it is in the 6v6. Roadhog does a lot of damage. He's classified as a tank, Jake, but doesn't have a lot of shielding for his teammates. A bit more of a selfish tank.
Oh yeah, the definition of selfish and for Roadhog, that's for sure. It's pretty much all he does is damage and hooks. But as you said, the 1v1 or even the small team matchup in the 3-on-3 can be a lot more effective.
That's it. Well, game 3 is coming up in the 1v1s, but we're going to take a quick breather and give the players some time to get into the right mindset to continue our 1v1 challenges. On the other side, of these messages. Lone Star Showdown, presented by Samsung. Always gaming, always Texas. Stay connected and stay gaming with the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. Shop online or through the HEB app to purchase your groceries today. Here, everything's better. And if you're a Dallas Fuel or Houston Outlaws fan and wish to support your team, there's still time to order this season's team jersey or merchandise. Be sure to check out the Fanatics shop at overwatchleague.com and receive a 25% discount today.
Houston Outlaw requires Raucus to practice for 8 to 10 hours per day. And nothing is better than HEB's delicious meal simples. He eats them every day, and when he runs low, he just goes to his My HEB app, places his order, and heads to HEB. He texts HEB when he arrives, grabs his HEB order, and heads home.
Hey, I got food. I'm back, guys.
HEB Curbside, making it easy for Raucus to be a Houston Outlaw.
In life, you either eat the protein of Jack Link's steaks made with 100% beef, and you run with Sasquatch, or you run from Sasquatch.
And we are back here with the Lone Star Showdown. My name is Mitch Leslie, joined by Jake Lyon, and we are in full swing here for our 1v1 skill head-to-heads, Jake. And the Houston Outlaws finally managed to fire back when it came to the Roadhog 1v1 spree. Gets his time in the sun with the victory against Nose.
Yeah, now we have the Series 3 tied up 1-1 in this 1v1 series. Up next, it's going to be Decay and Linkser. I'm not sure which hero they're going to be playing, but I hope it's Widowmaker. I have a sneaking suspicion.
Yeah, we might. But here is our play of the game presented by HEB and Favor, and it involves, Jake, a lot of those environmental kills here on the map. Spree, in that moment there, just knowing you just had to drag Note down into the pit and a little bit of extra tech for Roadhog players out there. It's not that hard to do if you can move your mouse quick enough. But there you have it. That's how he managed to win out the series and put Houston Outlaws on a 1-1 footing. Now we're going to head into game in just a moment here with our next 1v1 head-to-head. And Jake, you alluded to it, and you were right. It is going to be Decay versus Linkser in a Widowmaker 1v1, often considered the most quintessential of 1v1 battles in Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one hero who, even in official matches, even in full competitive play, is going to experience those 1v1 moments where you can just one-shot the other player. And, of course, taking out the enemy Widowmaker guarantees you a ton of safety. So both players are very experienced in this duel. They know how to play it. They practiced it many times before. It's not like the other duels, which aren't normally seen.
Oh my gosh, Linkser jumping across their lands. A massive hit on Decay. And yes, look at this. Linkser, one of the original Widowmaker players, Jake. I think way back to when he was still playing in the European region, long before the Overwatch League was even an idea. And he was dominant on that hero. She's changed a lot since then, but he's still got the touch.
Yeah, definitely. One of his best heroes. You know, I think Widow has really just fallen out of favor in the Overwatch League. Hasn't been such a strong choice in recent patches. You know, even getting restricted out of when the pools were decided by ranked play, but even then at that time she still wasn't being seen too often in the Overwatch League, really seen as a secondary, a backup to a hero like McCree or Hanzo.
Well, Linkser out of the gates again, and he's just waiting. He's waiting for Decay to make a grapple to the high ground. Linkser, you're a little bit vulnerable when you're suspended in midair that way, and he's given Decay an opening. Still, this can turn on its head. One headshot is all you need. Very different to a lot of our other skill matchups, but Linkser could not find it. And Jake, with the actual hitbox on Widowmaker, I mean, look, I mean, she's quite svelte, right? The view model is quite thin, so connecting those shots on the head is extra hard, especially compared to, let's say, Roadhog 1v1s. You're never guaranteed hits, especially when both players are moving so much.
Yeah, and I mean, we also see that neither player is electing to charge up their shots much at all, not going for the instant kill shot, just trying to get maybe that half charge headshot, put the enemy player low. Trying to stand still long enough to charge a shot is probably going to lead to your death. So both players focusing on being evasive first and getting kills second.
All right, so it's a war of attrition then. The longer you stay scoped in, the more damage that shot will do, but the more vulnerable it makes you, because sometimes you just have to stand still or you can't move nearly as fast. You do not have your grappling hook available to you, and that is a beautiful mid shot there. Decay was able to finish the job. He didn't have to charge up the second shot much at all. Linkser was already so low, and Decay, he's off to the races, 2-1.
Yeah, once you get that enemy player low, then as you said, you can just sort of jump around corners with the scope up, go for those quick, low charge shots, low risk. But once the enemy player is low, then it doesn't really make a difference whether you're charged or not. So Decay so far having the edge in this matchup, but as you said, it can turn on a knife's edge. Very, very easy to come back. Very, very easy to get streaky. I mean, one full charge headshot ends the match. So I'd like to see Linkser keep fighting back in this series. Very possible for him.
Linkser again, playing low ground. So is Decay though. Sprays coming out. Sometimes that's even a nervous tip for some players. It's almost a ritual in between shots. Decay down to 26 though, needed to find a headshot. And did Linkser go there into semi-automatic mode?
Yeah, I think that's wise. Once Decay is already down to 26 HP from the early headshot, there's no reason to scope in again. And we also saw Decay, once he's dropping low, he has to charge up a shot. You know, once you are low, you have to take that all in, you know, one chance at victory. If I hit the charge headshot, I can bring it back. That's pretty much your only game plan because, yeah, of course, the SMG does come out and Linkser can just wildly strafe while, you know, tapping away with that SMG. So that's how important that first damage is. It doesn't matter if you get the enemy finished off or just really low. You have a big edge with the SMG, just cleaning them up and strafing around wildly.
Much like our earlier Echo matchup, damage sticks. Can't be mitigated, can't be removed. Once it's there, it stays. All right, nice body shot there. Decay finds Linksa now. Less time to charge required. Oh, that's another big one now. It's just a tickle. Does Decay go for a scope shot? No. Spray around a corner with the SMG, and Linksa is in deep trouble now, especially as Decay closes the gap. And easy as you like, he paved the way with a couple of connected shots, and Linksa laughing in Korean in the chat.
Yeah. Nice, nice copy paste from Linksa there. In the
Yeah,
chat.
I don't know if he has a Korean keyboard active.
I'd be surprised, if possible though. But yeah, as you said, Decay gets the HP lead, and that was a nice little flank to close it out. Does the jump shot, but that actually goes all the way around behind Linksa, and you know that's the trouble. When you're down HP, Linksa's got no choice but to hold that charge and just hope for the headshot. But that's, you know, Decay understands the situation, so he goes for the wraparound flank, where it's exceedingly difficult for Linksa to turn on him.
Decay doesn't realize that Linksa is up on that right-hand side. Grappling hook. Linksa was already in position and meets him with a headshot. Not easy to hit. You've seen these two players struggle to find those golden shots. That one, though, will even the score at 3-3. This is a best of 9. First to 5 is going to get the win.
Yeah, both teams right here want to get an advantage, want to get up in the series. And what a way to do it with the Widowmaker 1v1 on Castillo. A perfect map, actually, for the Widowmaker 1v1.
Plenty of high ground, plenty of low ground, and a fountain in the middle to be able to play around.
Yeah, just so
Let's
many
go
sight
again.
lines, no way to control them all. This time, Linksa gets the HP lead and closes it. Wow, that was quick.
That was quick. I mean, sometimes it is. The length of these rounds varies greatly. Linksa actually found a headshot to finish it off there, and now he is on match point, one step away from putting the Outlaws ahead in this overall 1v1 series. It'll be 2-1 for Houston.
And that's the swag.
Decay
headshot,
has an
Mitch.
opportunity.
Totally unnecessary headshot. The best kind of
Yeah,
headshot.
That's true. Could have hit the body there as well. All right, Linksa says he's changing his skin. What do we get this time around?
I think he's
Okay, he
making fun of
goes for the
Decay, 'cause
Houston
Decay's been
Outlaws
changing
skin.
his Decay's had like 3 skins so far in this 1v1.
Trying to distract Linksa, perhaps. Well, so far, not so good for him. This is match point here for Linksa. Decay shows his head, finds the headshot, secures the deciding round. And perhaps no more swag headshots for Linksa now, as it's really nose to the grindstone here.
Yeah, this round's for all the marbles. That was a nice bait by Decay. Peeks his head, just baits the shot from Linksa, and then immediately pushes out. Knows that there's no risk of a charge fire in that little tiny window between shots. And that's the margins you're working with on Widowmaker. You have to understand where the enemy Widow is, but also how much charge could they have at that moment. And if you can bait a shot out, you've got that little window to be risky, fully charge a shot of your own, and Decay makes short work of it.
Decay switches back to the default Widowmaker skin for good luck. Or maybe out of habit, who knows. Linksa takes the more aggressive positioning early, but Decay is just trying to work around these pillars, again with the sprays. And he can hear Linksa, of course. Widow makes a fair bit of noise in those clopping high heels. Oh my, that is filthy! Dallas Fuel take another map here, going 2-1, and Decay caught Linksa mid-grapple, if I'm not mistaken. Those shots do not come around all that often.
I mean, what a shot to hit and end it on. That was insane. Linksa goes for the grapple bounce, which is one of the hardest moves to hit on Widowmaker. It makes you very evasive. Not only are you going very fast sideways, but you're also bouncing up in the air. But Decay is just so sharp on that. What an insane flick.
I mean, yeah, it has to be a very quick correction of aim there, because Linksa was moving in 2 axes, not only across the screen, but also upward there, just trying to make it as unpredictable as possible. Again, it was a micro correction from Decay that allowed him to find the kill, and he's already demonstrating why he's been such a potent addition to the Dallas Fuel roster this year. The Houston Outlaws, Jake, are on the precipice of giving away a 3rd map pick now when it comes to the Battle of Texas. They'll only have opportunity to get 1 more when we get to the 3v3s, so they're already going to be starting in a deficit when it comes to the Battle of Texas, and that's not what you want. You want an even playing field here, but you have to earn it. You have to earn it here in these 1v1s.
The Fuel have certainly been asserting their dominance thus far, really getting a massive lead in the series. Outlaws, they're in a very tough spot. We're going to have to see if they can bring it back, but numbers are against them here to be sure, Mitch.
Yeah, well, pound for pound right now, the Fuel are burning a little bit brighter, but we'll see if the Outlaws can get some of that courage back and maybe some momentum behind them as they still fight for that map pick for map number 3. We're going to go to a break, and when we return, the 1v1s come to their conclusion here at the Lone Star Showdown.
In life, there are people who hike with poles and drink their meals, and people who feed on Jack Link's jerky, a protein snack made with 100% beef. Because in life, you either run with Sasquatch or you run from Sasquatch.
Hey guys, it's Blank from the Houston Outlaws, and this is our day with Zenny.
Play Overwatch 16 hours per day.
I've had a lot of issues with my eyes in the past.
The more I play, the more tired my eyes get.
They showed us a presentation on how blue light filters work, how it can help your eyes, your health, your performance.
With Zenny's glasses, they feel more natural part of your style or your fashion.
With these glasses specifically, it's very hard to tell a difference. So I think every gamer can actually benefit from them. It'll help your eyes without taking away from the gameplay.
Here at the Lone Star Showdown, the Dallas Fuel are on the precipice of securing themselves yet another map choice in the Battle of Texas to come next week. The 1v1s have definitely gone their way after seeing Decay manage to win out against Lynxer with a freak shot on Widowmaker to end the round. Now, Jake, we head into a different flavor of 1v1, but there are similarities. This time it's going to be Crimzo versus Raucous playing Ana.
Well, this is going to be a pretty interesting one. I think the most important interaction in this mode is going to be the Biotic Grenade. You really want to get a nade on both yourself and the enemy Ana to secure the self-heal as well as deal damage. But at the same time, if the enemy Ana nades you first, then you don't get any value off that self-heal. So of course the sleep can come in and almost end a round single-handedly, but the player who gets the nade off with more value is going to have a significant advantage.
That's what we want to talk about, that nade value. Remember, if you use a Biotic Grenade on your opponent, they cannot heal for a duration. If you use it on yourself, your healing gets boosted. Now, Anna's only way to heal herself is that biotic grenade, and that will be, factoring into the decision-making here of these two players to make sure they don't waste it. So it's a slow start to the round. Don't forget, Sleep Dart is huge. Crimzo's here with a biotic grenade already now. Does Raucus get aggressive? He baits out a Sleep Dart, chases Crimzo down, but this time he's here with a biotic grenade, and Crimzo was ready. He waited out the bio-nade, so he was able to heal, and I'll let Raucus come to him.
Yeah, as we talked about, that self-heal value coming into play there. I almost wanted Raucus, once he got that initial nade off, to back off, maybe reset the cooldown status, put Crimzo in a situation where he has to just only get the self-heal. But as we were saying, Crimzo, he waited off the purple and able to get that extra heal, surviving one extra shot from Raucus, and that's all he needs, of course. Both players can 3-shot the other, so the difference of one heal or one missed heal from a biotic grenade makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it's a big turnaround. I mean, it's huge if you can biotic grenade yourself and your opponent at the same time, giving a huge deficit in healing potential. But grenading your opponent really only just puts them behind in health because, well, by the time you have your next one up, it probably would have been out of heal. But we'll see now some longer range play. Anna can fire both scoped and unscoped, although when she's scoped, the shots are much more accurate. There's no spread on them. And Raucus took a lot of damage there to try and line up a couple of shots there. He lost out hard in those trades.
Yeah, one shot behind and missing the self-heal, but now Raucus is going to be back to the same HP. Crimzo has the cooldown lead, but Raucus putting the pressure on. This is nice. Forces another bio-nade.
Once again, Raucus on the run. Biotic grenade to himself, up to 190, goes to the high ground, unscoped shot as Crimzo rounds the corner, and now he's playing the low ground. Crimzo does not find the sleep dart, and Raucus has just become available again. Tries to work the corner. Both players a biotic grenade, and now a couple of shots to get the job done. Crimzo clinging to life, but he gets Raucus. Peeks around the corner, and this has already become one-sided, Jake. It's 3-0 favoring the Canadian, now representing the Dallas Fuel.
It's a nice play by Crimzo, able to keep control of the high ground in that contested room, and as you said, he got that double nade. He got healing himself and damaging the enemy, and that's a massive swing so far. That's been both rounds Crimzo has gotten that playoff to get the win overall. So Raucus gonna need to try and find some of that value on his own, but it's tough because you want to get aggressive, control those small rooms where it's easy to do that, but at the same time, if you go charging in willy-nilly, you're just gonna get slept and the round will be pretty much over at that.
Quick correction, of course, it's 2-0 there. Slightly ahead of myself. Crimzo is starting to get that lead. Goodbye grenade connection plus a dart from Raucus. Dodges Crimzo's sleep dart. Crimzo, though, comes forward and he gets that perfect double biotic grenade. He's healed. Raucus takes damage and can't heal. And even though Raucus had a biotic grenade available after, he wouldn't have been able to get any health back. And then Crimzo presses his advantage. Now we go to 3-0. It seems like Crimzo is starting to feel a bit more of that confidence here.
Yeah, definitely, and it's so significant. You know, he's able to have the confidence to not waste the nade. You know, he could get quickly 2-shot after the nade. If Raucus lands every single shot, then it would make sense to go for that very aggressive nade play. But Crimzo's patience is really being rewarded here. He's getting that heal value, and each time he's surviving with just one shot worth of HP left. So it's really the heal value that has made the difference thus far.
Really different paths to professional play for these two. Raucus, part of the Outlaws roster since its inception, has been in the Overwatch League every season. Crimzo, only really now getting his opportunity after moving up from NB, which is the Academy roster, for the Dallas Fuel. Crimzo much newer to the competitive scene, but definitely brimming with fire and hunger. And definitely to prove himself here in a 1v1 against a tenured, time-tested player. Raucus notes Crimzo is over in the high ground. Crimzo can now peek from either of these two doorways, and he will force Raucus to biotic grenade himself.
Yeah, both players pretty low. Raucus can survive 2 shots though, and Crimzo will actually die to that second shot. So Crimzo now self-healing as well, so is Raucus. Both on even shots now. One shot will do it for either player.
20-50 in health. Biotic grenades come off cooldown in, well, 1 second. So they're both available. Raucus heals himself immediately. And
oh, that's a miss from Crimzo.
Yeah. He was hoping to get Raucus with that one too, but he turns it around. He missed the biotic grenade, but he hit the sleep dart. What a clutch play. He was out of the fight, already done, and somehow claws his way back after missing a crucial biotic grenade. And that one is a heartbreaker for Raucus now. And Dallas goes up 4-0.
Most definitely. Crimzo wanted to snowball that one, and he did it with an epic sleep. Raucus maybe feeling overconfident there. Honestly, I'm just kind of surprised he dropped down because he wouldn't have known whether Crimzo missed the nade on himself. He probably wouldn't have assumed that the self-heal came in. So Raucus just getting very aggressive. Looks like Crimzo last time suffered a massive comeback from Repel, but we'll see if Raucus is able to deliver the same. This time Crimzo seems even more in control.
He's talking no trash right now. He's learned his lesson after Repel felled him. Okay, Crimso's in trouble here. Yep, fired a grenade, walked straight into Raucus. And the Houston Outlaws get themselves back into this one. Some talk in the chat from the Dallas crowd, the gallery.
I love that from Note. Note says, uh-oh, in chat.
Crimso has seen this before. Yep, fearing a potential reverse sweep here. I'm sure he'll keep his head about in this time around. Raucus has been quiet. You know, he's just been trying to get the measure of Crimso, but he's really run out of margin. This is every round a match point against him in this best of 9.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to turn it around. That time it seems like Crimso maybe got a little bit cocky, getting very aggressive, which is a bit uncharacteristic for what we've seen from him in his last 1v1 and at the successful rounds in this round. So nice rock by Raucus. That's exactly what he needs to do. If you're going to go aggressive with the nade, you've got to land the next 2 shots. There, Raucus delivers. No change in strategy, just a change in execution.
Yeah, connecting those crucial shots, not made any easier by the fact that Crimso was jumping left and right across the doorway, trying to land his own grenade. It was a markedly large increase in aggression from Crimso now as he sees he's so close to the win. But again, another reverse sweep. That would be heartbreaking. Raucus not out, even after suffering that brutal come from behind round against Crimso. It's a skin change from Crimso. Okay, he's serious now.
Skin change. Everything is new now. Everything is different. Oh, the slip on a Raucus.
Long range sleep. Fighting grenade is available. Okay, what is this? He doesn't follow up. He knows
it's out of range.
He couldn't cross the gap quickly enough. Capitalize. Another hit. Fighting grenade down. Raucus on the ropes. Another sleep.
No.
That's 2 in a row. A salute. And he sends him packing. The Dallas Fuel take away the 1v1s once more. 3-1 in this series. And gosh, Jake, another map pick for them. 3 out of 5 of those maps in that best of 5. Final showdown are going over to the Dallas Fuel, and from what we can see now, the Outlaws are just going to have to hang tight and play whatever gets put in front of them.
Yeah, the Outlaws, they're really suffering here in these small team challenges. I mean, at this point, they really need to claw it back in the 3-on-3, get themselves one map pick, one isolated point of salvation, of stability when we get to the 6v6 series, or else they're going to be staring down the barrel of a very well-prepared Fuel.
Already, Jake, 3 map picks over to Dallas, which means that the Outlaws could potentially lose this showdown before they have a chance to play on their map, even if they win that next series. So now they absolutely have to win on a map of Dallas's choice when it comes to the showdown to even have a chance of competing. Now, these 2 teams, bear in mind, have gone all the way in their last head-to-head in the Overwatch League. We should expect a close battle, but this negative handicap, I guess, against the Houston Outlaws doesn't make that any easier. They were fighting for an even playing field, but falling so far behind in these 1v1 challenges has made that now exponentially more difficult. And like you said, their 3v3 prowess really needs to be on display.
Yeah, I think the Fuel are feeling that confidence, of course, coming away with the victory. And last time these 2 teams met in the Overwatch League, maybe fueling some of that confidence, and, you know, for good reason. They're up 3-0. At this point, you lose the last 3-on-3. If you're Fuel, you're not worried about it. You've guaranteed yourself that map pick advantage coming into the 6-on-6 series next week. But at the same time, at this point, you're playing with house money. You've got the confidence. You might just win yourself a 4th. You know, I think that when you're ahead and you have that confidence, you can play even better than normal, and vice versa for the Outlaws. They're going to have some serious mental fortitude now. They've got to be feeling the pressure after so many losses. I think in this 3-on-3, it's going to come down very heavily to the strategies that both teams field.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that when we get to it, because there is a bit of nuance when it comes to 3v3. And once you've selected a composition and you win a round, you actually can't use any of those heroes again for that battle. So that changes things. Hey guys, if you're a local in the Texas area, there's plenty of supplementary content going on around the Lone Star Showdown. That's right. So you can find out which maps the winners of the series so far, Dallas Fuel, will be choosing this weekend. You can tune in here on your local channels and obviously get yourself some supplementary content, a bit of behind the scenes look at what's happening around the Lone Star Showdown. The Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws vying for supremacy, for control, for lordship over Texas. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready for our 3v3 matches, we're going to take a break because the Houston Outlaws definitely need some time to collect themselves going in to our last skill challenges. We'll see you after the break. Jack Links, proud to be the official protein snack of Team Envy and the Dallas Fuel. Jack Links, feed your wild side. Shop online or through the HEB app to purchase your groceries today. Here, everything's better. Samsung for presenting the 2020 Lone Star Showdown. Follow us over the next couple of weeks to see who is named the top Overwatch team in Texas. Welcome you back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lone Star Showdown. I am Mitch Leslie, joined by Jake Lyon, and we just saw the Dallas Fuel once again take away our 1v1 skills challenge. It happened last week, and it's happened now again, which means that they have now 3 maps that they can choose when it comes to our final best of 5 battle for Texas. Dallas just seem to be all over it when it comes to that individual battle.
Yeah, they've been close, but I mean, it was closer last week. Now it seems that the Fuel have compounded their lead and also expanded the margin by which they earned it. So 3 map picks already solidly locked in for the Dallas camp. Burning brightly here. I don't know if the Outlaws are going to have an answer. It'll have to be here in this final 4th series before the 6-on-6 for Outlaws to get at least 1 map pick settled for the series.
Yeah, and those that joined us last week would have seen that our 3v3 challenges were quite close as well. Both teams showed us a mixture of different compositions in order to try and outfox each other. And remember, an important part of 3v3 is that once you choose a composition and you win with it, you can't use it again. And of course, the theme of Houston versus Dallas is indeed neck and neck. Plenty of tweets coming in. Thank you for interacting with us here on the show. We'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get your thoughts on how your team is showing. I'm glad that Real Moo Cream actually plays plenty of elimination. Probably could add more to it than we do. But it is nice to see a bit of a pro look at it, Jake, especially when it comes to selecting some of these compositions.
Yeah, and we're already starting to see the different strategies teams are fielding, especially on the 3-on-3 matchups where really your composition is incredibly impactful, especially given that it's an elimination game mode. You can cap by controlling the point, but most often it's going to be the kills that end up counting and end up earning you those rounds. So you want to pick heroes that are simultaneously survivable and difficult to pick off, but also can be active and accomplish something on the map, can put pressure on your opponents.
We're jumping straight on in now. And of course, the way that our 3v3 will be working is that each round will be a best of 5. So these players are in now. We have Crimzo, Trill, and Zachary for the Dallas Fuel, Meko, Blase, and Rappel. Now, after each best of 5, the teams will be able to switch their rosters and go again. We'll change maps, and it will be a best of 5 of best of 5. So first to 3 of these rounds will be winning. And we'll talk you through it. It'll make a lot more sense as we get rolling through it. We start here in Acropolis, and Zachary has already found Blase, but there is an issue there. We need a restart, as Rappel has decided to play Widowmaker, and there's 2 tanks on the side of the Outlaws. So last time they got a round forfeit for that. This time they might be let off.
Yeah, I think we're going to take the reset as long as first round. I think the first round you actually don't have very much time at all to pick a composition. You got to be quick and have some ideas.
Oh, I like that. A little bit of an Easter egg there on this map. Those that recognize the Horde symbol from World of Warcraft will be pleased. Right, let's try that again. This time the Outlaws have Roadhog, Soldier 76, Ana on the side of the Fuel. It's going to be the Echo Mercy with the Wrecking Ball. Trill is already looking to try and sow some chaos.
It's going to be tough for Zach and Crimzo now, both Ana and Soldier, to pressure this Echo Mercy. They've got their work cut out for them, just trying to survive on Zachary. Trill's going to have to get a slam to maybe set this up, but if Meko is going to be looking to block that on his side.
A pile driver from Trill on the Wrecking Ball could set up a big salvo with sticky bombs. Those ones look pretty good. The issue is that Crimzo has to spend most of his time sticking with Zachary. He's far more vulnerable. Can't really do too much healing for Trill. Trill got hit with a Vita Grenade, so he can't be healed anyway right now, but that was just the opening that the Fuel needed. Zachary descends on Rappel, and with that focusing beam, takes away the healer. Fortunately, Jake, Meko and Blase can heal themselves, but being down a player is not good.
Yeah, I think failing to get a counter pick pretty much ends the round. Meko's going to take a long walk up a short pier. Can't really blame him there. I think once you lose a player, especially against a composition like Echo Mercy, there's no real coming back from it. It was a good attempt by Outlaws, but I think they just didn't have their target focus quite on priority. They need to keep that Echo and Mercy pressured. Trill took a ton of focus pressure, but they weren't even able to finish the kill. And on top of that, it's just a Hammond, right? Like, I guess the Echo Mercy are really the dangerous heroes in this comp. Even if you kill Hammond, if the fight goes long, you might easily get rezzed up by Mercy.
Hammond being Wrecking Ball, of course. And yeah, it looks like the Outlaws paid too much attention to Trill, which was exactly what he wanted, to get heads turned in his direction, like many of the people that walk down the red carpet at Oscars these days. Now it's going to be the Orisa from both teams. So they go for what is considered the most powerful tank in this format right off the bat. Now, Zachary is on the Hanzo. Obviously, An Archer can cover great spaces and also very good at pressuring shields down. He has a high rate of fire when he uses Storm Arrow. He's going to play that left-hand side. Look at how quickly that shield is blowing up. Even without the Bastion on the side of the Fuel, they are forcing the Outlaws back. Here's another hold. Not bad. Salvo of orbs there from Crimzo. Gets a lot of damage on the Blase. He's hit with a Discord Orb, and Repel's seen better days. The healer is low now for the Outlaws. He'll have to retreat and choose to split himself off from his teammates.
Zachary's doing so much work right now on the flank, just forcing the Outlaws to split up, and this fight just looks so awkward for the Outlaws. Blase not able to set up into turret form. He's really not playing Bastion the way you want to, where you're actually being able to set up and have a long fight. One bright spot for the Outlaws is that Repel, he does have this amplification matrix.
He is in danger, though. He's going to be forced to deal with Zachary 1v1 in a moment, but the main fight is happening here between the two Orisas. We see, of course, having Blase there on the Bastion should help out, but Crimzo was able to work Meko down. Trill chases Blase, and it's an easy pick off for Zachary. Just on the other side of the map, follows Repel and finishes him with a headshot, and the Dallas Fuel. I tell you what, the Outlaws are feeling it. The Fuel have another successful composition. I guess the upside take for the Outlaws is that now Dallas don't have any of those heroes that they've won rounds on to use again.
Yeah, but at least they expend the Orisa, but I honestly think that was great from the Fuel. Getting use out of Hanzo, which is a hero I don't think we've seen so far in the 3-on-3s last week. Now, Trill on the Widowmaker. If they can win this, it's truly a swag play. Meko and Blase both going to be hunting down this Widowmaker. It's going to be tough for Trill. He's going to have to find some sharp shots here.
Well, this is, for those wondering, not a usual assignment for Trill. He is not a DPS player for the Fuel, and I don't think I've ever seen him play DPS. I'm sure he has at least a rudimentary level in it. He's a professional player, so has to be able to play a lot of things effectively. He does take a little bit of a biting dart from Repel, and we'll need to wait for Zachary to top him back up. Now Trill is hoping, waiting for Repel to show himself. Repel's aware there's a Widowmaker in the fight, so really doesn't want to peek out. He doesn't have a lot of mobility. Essentially, Ana is 2 legs and a heartbeat, and then that's how she gets around. Trill forced to back away here, but Crimzo's found Meko, the hook straight down. And Trill gets Blase. That's nutty. Repel's able to find a finish, but it's a 2v1 now, Jake.
Repel in the 1v2. It was a 1v3. Repel? Wait. Repel gone? Will Zachary take these peaks?
Sleep dart. Again, if he wants to heal himself, he has to use Biotic Grenade, and he can't use it against Crimzo to stop his healing. This is a very compromising position, but it's easy to hit Roadhog with his sleep darts. He can keep just sort of working him around. Repel is trying to secure a 1v1 for himself against Zachary, and Zachary's low, but Crimzo quickly flies into the rescue. Nicely done by Repel. He does manage to finish off Zachary, but he didn't have enough time in that 1v1. And the Dallas Fuel just dominated this first round of 3v3s. They take one map in this best of 5. There was a 13. I mean, that was ridiculous.
That was domination.
Dallas way ahead.
There's no other way to put it. Fuel with a triple off class on the final round. Just adding insult to injury there. Nice little boop off on the Meko to secure this play of the game. Yeah, the Dallas Fuel were just all over that round of 3-on-3.
Dallas know full well that Houston know that they were playing on heroes that they do not play in professional matches. So it is a sign of disrespect from the Dallas Fuel, but when you're that far ahead, I don't see why you can't mess them up a little bit there. We got to see some different compositions as well, a little bit more Ana, the Widowmaker even being used, and Blase's Doomfist, or the Doomfist in general, not really being able to shine. That was his best hero. He looked amazing in the 1v1s, but couldn't bring it together in the team-based format.
Yeah, definitely. Blase was a bright spot for him. I think the composition actually was pretty rough for the Outlaws with the Ana and Roadhog playing against that dive comp. Pretty ideal. But even Trill contributing, I honestly expected him to be the weak link really on the Widowmaker. Such a practiced, skill-based hero. But he performed, got the headshot on Blase, kept himself alive. Pretty insane effort though by Repel, almost trying to 1v3 that. That would have been wild if he made the comeback. But now Outlaws on the precipice of defeat. Looking at a situation where they might be playing 4 Dallas Fuel map picks, that's going to be rough come the 6-on-6 series next week.
I don't know how Houston are going to come back from that. It's going to be a Herculean effort required. But perhaps if they got themselves some Jack Links, the official protein supplier of the Dallas Fuel, they might be able to, perform such an Atlassian task. That's right. They're going to have to do a lot of lifting. We shout out to Jack Links. Thank you very much for your support so far. And of course, partnering up with the Dallas Fuel. Our next map here in this 3v3 is going to be Castillo. So again, a mix of high and low ground with a large pit on the left-hand side. We saw some very exciting plays earlier on and there will be some roster changes as we head straight into the map here, and we can keep you apprised of those ones. Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws both making wholesale changes to their rosters here to try and give them the edge. Closer, Gamsu and Decay for Dallas Fuel, and for Houston, it'll be Jexa, Hydration, and Dante.
I like this roster for the Outlaws. I think this gives them a ton of flexibility with Hydration and Dante. Both able to play a wide variety of tanks and DPS, even potentially role swapping should they want to. As we see the rollout here, again, an Orisa comp starts us off.
Yeah, the Torbjorn Orisa Ana combination here, very powerful one from the Outlaws. Both teams looking to get value out of Orisa's displacement ability in the halt. And both Orisas will play very close here. There's a lot of mass on 8 legs. And Hydration wants to move up a little bit here. Dante quite low. Try to flank around. Decay actually managed to get himself amongst the pigeons as the cat, but it's an immortality field deployed by Closer to keep the soldier 76 alive. Hydration, though, yoinks him off the edge of the map. And Decay was playing with fire, playing so close to the precipice. And now Dallas are down at DPS.
I like that from Decay, going for the flank, but just gets heavily punished. Nice hauled off the map by Hydration. Now it's Dante on the flank. Go for the hammer, Dante. Let me see it.
Yeah, a lot of damage on Closer there. He capitalized on the hold. Gamsu is able to work the Torbjorn down, but now he's in a 1v2. Hydration, though, doesn't have a shield cooldown. Had to use his Fortify. Getting held up by Jexa now, and Gamsu, yeah, he's taking damage from the Torbjorn turret left behind. A parting gift for Dante will secure that round for the Outlaws.
Hydration finding, I think, all the kills in that round. So Hydration, Orisa, kind of poggers.
All right, kind of thick. We like that.
And we'll see now no more Orisa available for the Outlaws. So will Fuel continue to press the Orisa? I hope the Outlaws bring out something very fast and aggressive here. And that's exactly where we're going to get Tracer, Heyman, Moira. It's all in, do or die here for the Outlaws. But Decay on the Hanzo going to be very vulnerable to this dive.
That's right. They're going to try and get to the Hanzo as quickly as they can. The Bowslinger will have to try and stay safe on the high ground as much as he can. Getting good early damage on Hydration here, forces the Wrecking Ball to roll on away. Jexa has to watch himself, forced to use a healing orb, and then tries to go up and give a bit of a tickle to Decay. Forced away, his hold is unavailable, and Jexa put himself in a compromising position. Hydration drops on in though, Decay is down, and it's a 2v2 now. Adaptive shield from Hydration, they knock Closer down. That is filthy. Hydration just segmenting the Dallas Fuel roster in half, and now Gamsu has to do it alone. Plenty of health, but he needs to deal with a Tracer nipping at his heels constantly.
Gamsu just holding in the corner. Pretty hard to deal with him in this spot, actually. But the Outlaws could just wait for point to open. They want to end this quicker. It's actually so hard to deal with an Orisa that does this, given the heroes that Outlaws have available. Dante's just going to go each cooldown, melee Gamsu one time. But eventually the point will open, so the strategy is time limited.
Gamsu will not be regenerating this health, so every little foray into his little home, his stable we'll call it, will be gainful, and there it is. Finally, Dante is able to get the last little bit of health, and okay, the Outlaws now starting to show a little bit more fire here, and they didn't even have to use that Orisa composition. Now the Fuel, that's the question. We know Orisa is strong in this 3v3 matchup. Do the Outlaws still have answers to it? Do the Fuel keep playing that comp, Jake?
I mean, I feel like the Orisa is so strong. I think the trouble for the Fuel was because they had that Hanzo so vulnerable to the divers. It's a really rough matchup for Hanzo. And now we see a matchup, I think we saw this previously, the Zarya Doom Brig coming out for Outlaws into the Tracer Hammond Lucio. So going to be very aggressive comps on both sides. Hydration's going to have a tough fight here. There's no easy targets for him.
Dante trying to get back to the rest of his team. Knocked off of the high ground there. And oh dear! Hydration just able to stay alive. He was almost knocked off of the edge there by Closer, but Closer ends up getting punished. Dante finds him, although had to trade out his life for it. Now the 2v2. Both teams struggling. Jexa down, but the healing is there. Can Hydration make the most of it? It looks like he can. Gamsu is low. Uses the adaptive shield to get a little bit of protection, and yep, straight on in. And it's flipped. This time it's the Outlaws to come out with a 3-0, shutting the Fuel down and showing that they still know their way around the 3 versus 3 format.
Well, that was nice by Dante. Even as he's getting booped off the map on Zarya, he finishes off the Lucio on the other side. So nice work by Dante, getting that clutch pick off on the Closer. And then once the heals are gone for Decay and Gamsu, they just run out of steam.
That was quite impressive. I mean, there was a lot of high flying going on in that round. The wrecking ball plays to try and displace people. Also, Lucio. When someone gets knocked up by the pile driver of wrecking ball, and then your Lucio comes in to boot them, not only are they being knocked upwards, but knocked at a trajectory. And when both teams are playing on that balcony, relatively close to the edge of the map, Zarya especially has no way to counteract that. I think it was, I remember your Hydration or Dante on the Doomfist. It was Hydration, I think, managed to save himself from certain death by using his, rising uppercut. But, those compositions give quite an explosive kind of game. For Jake, it's even now in the 3v3s. In this best of 5, it's 1-1.
Yeah, and I actually think that matchup should favor the team with Tracer. Tracer should be really, really difficult to catch in that situation. But Decay slightly overplaying his hand, gets caught by Hydration, who clutches it out. Gamsu without the HP to finish that matchup. And, that's pretty impressive. We said the Outlaws had their backs against the wall, but they're showing that they still have fight left in them. Winning that one 3-0 and keeping the same roster in. We'll see if Fuel can field something different coming next.
Yep. Well, effectively, the Outlaws have managed to turn the best of 5 into a best of 3. We still got more Overwatch to come here in the 3v3 small team challenges. So hang around, and we'll be back to see who will get that coveted Map 4 pick in the Battle for Texas next week. Lone Star Showdown, presented by Samsung. Always gaming, always Texas. Stay connected and stay gaming with the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. From your favorite Texas restaurants to everyday essentials, get anything you want delivered fast with Favor. Be one of the first 500 new users to apply code FUEL10 for $10 off your first order. Restrictions apply. Visit favordelivery.com/promos for details. Favor, anything delivered. Jack Links, proud to be the official protein snack of Team Envy and the Dallas Fuel. Jack Links, feed your wild side.
Hey guys, it's Blank from Houston Outlaws, and this is our day with Zenny.
Play Overwatch 16 hours per day.
I've had a lot of issues with my eyes in the past.
The more I play, the more tired my eyes get.
They showed us a presentation on how blue light filters work, how it can help your eyes, your health, your performance.
With Zenny's glasses, they feel more natural part of your style or your fashion.
With these glasses specifically, it's very hard to tell a difference. So I think every gamer can actually benefit from them. It'll help your eyes without taking away from the gameplay.
If you're a Dallas Fuel or Houston Outlaws fan and wish to support your team, there's still time to order this season's team jersey or merchandise. Be sure to check out the Fanatics shop at overwatchleague.com and receive a 25% discount today. The Houston Outlaws and the Dallas Fuel wish to thank Samsung for presenting the 2020 Lone Star Showdown. Follow us over the next couple of weeks to see who is named the top Overwatch team in Texas. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lone Star Showdown, and it is starting to heat up here. Back and forth play in the 3v3s, and finally, the Houston Outlaws show some real spark, managing to take that last best of 5 in a 3-0.
Yeah, the Outlaws starting to get a little angry. They're tired of the punishment that the Fuel have been delivering to them so far. Fuel are going to make some roster changes, bringing in Doha, Crimzo, and Note to continue the series, but no changes for the Outlaws. Harsha, maybe he's found his 3.
Well, let's see if it plays out the way that the Outlaws hope, because the Dallas Fuel have definitely changed. There's Note, Doha, and Crimzo coming in here. And here's that composition. It's interesting start for the Fuel. They go with a weirder one. Sigma, Hanzo, Brigitte versus the tried and tested Ana. Of course, combined with the Torbjorn and Orisa.
I actually like Sigma a lot in 3-on-3. I think this hero has a ton of potential as a solo tank in this matchup. Note sneaking up for some big AoE damage, and he's going to be able to hold all on his own. He might get caught, though. The halt, perfect by hydration, draws him in close. He's going to have to drop to the low ground.
Clever from Note, backs away, uses kinetic grasp to absorb some of that damage, get some shield, and get out of dodge. Doha, though, looking from an off angle, actually got focused down briefly and took a ton of damage. Now, Crimzo looking to try and return to the rest of his team. Doha dispatches Dante's deployable turret, effectively reducing the Outlaws' numbers from 4 to 3. Crucial in this kind of matchup. Doha around the corner trying to chase Dante. In his wake, he leaves another turret, which is in turn destroyed. Crimzo is trying to get back to the rest of his team, but is being prevented from rejoining them. They're trying to split the Fuel up, but now they're together.
Nano Boost nearly online, and oh, that's a massive halt by hydration, pulling Hanzo and Brigitte down to the low ground. Only Snoke can left to contest the high ground, and he's all alone with Dante chasing him down.
Note is still able to get away. Once again, kinetic grasp protecting him. Crimzo, though, falls. Dante eventually finds him. The Fuel keeps splitting up and trying to get back together, and this time they got punished for it. Onto the high ground as the turret thrown. Jexa's going to buy a grenade himself, then Nano Boost onto hydration. Turns out death comes on 4 legs, and hydration is looking to work Note down. Easy as you like. First round, go to the Outlaws, but arguably with a much stronger composition picked.
I like the effort with the Sigma, right? If you can cheese a win there early with a hero like Sigma that hasn't seen so much success in the 3-on-3, you put yourself in a great position to take the overall series. But now the Outlaws find themselves in a similar position as before, winning with the Orisa comp, but now having to face it in the second round. The question is, will they be able to do as much damage as they did last time with that all-in dive? But a complete comp swap coming out from Fuel. I think this is pretty intelligent.
Dallas now go with a Wrecking Ball, the Echo, and the Mercy. Quite aggressive. Whereas the Outlaws have a composition that wants to play close together and play reactive, but look at this hydration, and Jaxer knocked off the high ground, and oh my, Dante caught on his own. He's able to scramble to his feet and rejoin the rest of the team, and that was an immortality field deployed to keep him standing. Doha, though, still wants to try and pressure this Reinhardt down. He's about to round the corner, and he's met with the entirety of the Outlaws here. Hydration trying to remain steadfast to keep that shield up, but it's taking a lot of damage, Jake.
Doha dropping to 9 HP there. Dante had a nice setup position in the corner. Now, Jexa, Hydration, and Dante, they're hiding in this corner. Now, with the shield restored, they're going to make them move out. Doha's on the back line trying to take out Jexa, though.
Jexa very low. He was a little bit late getting out of the stairwell, but they still catch Doha, and now it's on for young and old. That was a starter's pistol. And here come the Outlaws. They find Crimzo as well, and so it's just Note now in roly-poly land with no healing available. That's why Jexa fancies walking up to him and taking the 1v1, and that's the finish. The Outlaws on the fast track to another quick 3-0 here.
Yeah, wow, 2-0 once again. This time should be a little bit harder, right? No Bastion available. And I think this comp, to be fair, from the Outlaws was an attempt to counter an Orisa strategy. Bastion, Ryan, Baptiste just go all in, breaking the Orisa shield, make her less effective. But now that Bastion's off the table, so I'd expect to see Fuel get a pretty easy round win based on an Orisa comp. Those have been pretty much trump cards thus far in the game, but no, they proved me wrong. They're going with the Echo again, and Dante looks more than prepared on the McCree, arguably the strongest hitscan counter to Echo. It's going to be tough for Doha.
Echo has some problems against shields. Her focusing beam doesn't work them down fast. There it is, knockdown, Note from the high ground. And it's actually going to be the Outlaws that opt to drop, except for Hydration, who remains on the high ground. Dante's down, though. Doa's able to find him as a headshot with the tri-shot. And now it's going to be a split here. Hydration and Jexa have to back away. And yet, one by one now, the Dallas Fuel can work the Outlaws down. Only Sigma left. Just the accretion, the kill on Crimzo. But it's not enough to finish things here for the Outlaws.
Dante's opener was so sick. 2 headshots on and a body shot onto the Mercy flying around, but Crimzo survives on just less than 10 HP there, and Doha ends up taking down Dante to win the round. I'm pretty impressed. I think that composition was pretty favorable for the Outlaws. Dante just getting caught off guard by the boop from Note into the follow-up by Doha.
And now, of course, that Echo composition not available, and the Fuel get to switch to something much more robust. However, Echo on the table still for the Outlaws, and they opt to take it in this round. It's going to be the Wrecking Ball Echo Mercy combination, which has proved to be quite effective. Hydration sneaking behind, wants to knock Doha and Note off the high ground. See them there, up the stairs, gets slept immediately. No, now he would have bought a grenade, and that will have to force his hand and force him out of there. Hydration can return though in due time.
So hard to finish off. So much HP in a 3-on-3.
Yeah, I mean, even with the sleep dart, Jake, it seemed like there just wasn't enough damage there. Hydration, Wrecking Ball gets more shield, the more enemies surround him. So if he just drops in the middle of the entirety of the Fuel, he gets a ton of extra durability.
Yeah, 400 shields makes a big difference. Hydration just rolling through. Going a little bit solo, though. He has to be careful. He wants to make plays that are followed up by his team, not just, truly going alone. That can be a big risk. Dante taking some poke, but looks like he'll be okay here.
He was vulnerable, though, because that was time that Jexa had to spend in triage dealing with Hydration and not worrying about Dante at all. Now he can return to the Echo. And again, shenanigans continue. Doha on the low ground got dropped down, and that's perfect. The drop down plus the pile driver. And the focusing being to finish off the Torbjorn. Now the Outlaws are out in front looking comfortable. Hydration is put to sleep, but that's all Crimzo could do. A dash of sand, and then he had to leave. And that's it. The Houston Outlaws take another 3v3 away and might get themselves just the one map pick, just the one way to crawl back before this battle for Texas even begins. Give themselves some advantage later on in that series. Great Echo play from both sides, but it's going to be Dante that comes out with play of the game.
Yeah, and looks like Outlaws have found their roster. I think this is a great setup for them with Hydration able to play all of the tanks that seem most dominant in the 3-on-3. It's really not a traditional matchup where heroes like Reinhardt and Winston take over. Heroes like Orisa, Sigma, him, and they've been the leaders in terms of the tank power level. And of course, you've got Dante who can play the core hit scan as well as the flankers. And Jexa, obviously no slouch himself. Flex supports have been the weaker choices. It's been the main support and the main tank. So I think this is a very fitting comp for the Outlaws, and it's been showing results so far.
Yeah, teams really favoring the supports that are more focused around just healing and not doing damage or utility so much. That's why Mercy's been such a popular pick. Obviously, it doesn't do a whole lot of crowd control or stun abilities, but she was still able to come out on top there. Big, of course, shout out to Favor, Texas favorites delivered fast. Thank you for your support here with the Lone Star Showdown, getting involved in really starting to lift up some of the talent here from our 2 Overwatch League teams residing in the great state of Texas. But it seems like, Jake, the tanks being selected here in this 3v3 are either tanks that are very good at displacing enemies or are very good at preventing themselves from being displaced. It seems like driving a wedge between the opponent's team has formed a core of the strategies here to succeed in 3v3.
Definitely. It's all about getting those fight wins on the advantage comps. But now I think the meta has really developed over the last few matches, last week and this week, because now we're seeing teams sort of preemptively counter those Orisa comps. You know, Fuel's been holding the Orisa comp in reserve, not playing it the first round, trying to defeat it with an alternate composition so that they have it as a trump card later. But we've seen how this Echo Mercy Hammond comp can completely shut it down and make the Orisa seem not so effective at all. So I think that things are a little bit more complicated than I first thought in terms of picking your hero comp. Having a good matchup out of the gate makes all the difference in the world. Winning those slightly disadvantaged matchups as well, just through personal skill, also a game changer. And we're going to go back to Castillo for our next set. See if Outlaws can close it out here and get that map pick, as you said.
That's it. I mean, we saw the Wrecking Ball be effective on Ihop Antarctica, but there's no ravines to knock people down on that map. Here, there most certainly is. It's an idyllic landscape, but it's also treacherous for those that are unwary or frankly don't have anything, any way of stopping themselves being knocked over the edge. So beware. It's going to be Orisa start for both teams here. So, you know, we talked about teams playing with, you know, sub-optimal comps and managing to win with those mixes of heroes, but both teams want to go to tried and true to start this one off here. Obviously, the Outlaws can taste blood in the water. They know that they are on the precipice here of managing to take this series out. So, slow play, but oh, Zachary brings the wild card. The Hanzo in, Jake, and sometimes one headshot can flip the entire round on its head. That's definitely happened here.
Nice turnaround, though, and Trill is also naded, potentially caught alone here. Trying to waste as much time as possible, but Trill and to Zachary, ultimately the player advantage is too much there. If Dante hadn't been caught up so early, that round could have gone bad for Fuel. I do think, though, the matchup was really rough for the Outlaws. That Hanzo and Zen just have a massive advantage in shield trading on an Ana and Torb.
Well, Jaxa trying to go aggressive in those final moments to secure that kill on the Orisa, had to step past his own protective barrier to throw the biotic grenade, and that was ultimately what got him killed. So the Fuel stay alive here. They want to take this to a map 5 here. They don't want it to end on Castillo. They want it to be Black Forest. So now we'll get to see the Outlaws play a similar composition. They still think it's solid. They think it was a couple of, you know, small mechanics that didn't quite go the way they would have liked. And then going up against the Roadhog, Soldier 76, and Ana combination, Jay.
Nice hook on a Dante. He saves himself just barely with the armor.
Now healing comes in from Jaxa just to try and erase that little gap made earlier on in the round. And Dante again wants to try and work down one of these heroes, but all 3 of the Dallas Fuel's picks can heal themselves if they need to. That is a huge game changer. Dante loses his turret there. The Helix rocket is fired off by Zachary across the map. Hydration is trying to break line of sight. It's a constant deluge of damage, and there is the hook. Hydration takes a hit, but that's healed up awfully fast. As durable as he is, he's able to return. And this round might come down to point capture at the end. Another turret down for Zachary. Dante has to be careful. He got hit with a biotic grenade. They're trying to catch Trill, but Trill gets Jaxa. Huge turnaround, and now no healing. Dante could not get behind the shield quickly enough. He's down, and Hydration just opts to end the round early. He knew there was no coming back. It's 2-0 for Dallas.
Great plays from them to bring it back. I think that composition was a great matchup against the Orisa. You know, they've got the Soldier and the Roadhog, both free essentially to shoot shield all game long. And the Torb and Ana, they're great. They're survivable. They can last a long time. But how do they actually put threat on the heroes that the Dallas Fuel are fielding in that circumstance? Crimzo doesn't do much, but he doesn't have to do much. And we've got a very explosive mirror. Both teams going to the Echo Ham and Mercy. It's been a standby so far in the series. Can Zachary stand up to Dante here in the duel?
This has to mean that Dante really fancies himself in what is a very swingy composition, but look at this Hydration, tries to accost Crimzo early on, but Trill on the other side of the map has done one better. Crimzo is down. Dante works him away with the focusing beam, and now only 2 left. Trill, though, evens things up. He did a great job of keeping Jaxa caught in the room, and now neither team has heal as it comes down to the Yoko play now. Dante trying to deal with Trill, but he doesn't have enough staying power. Tries to focusing beam the Wrecking Ball down. Now it's Hydration versus Trill and Zachary, but both of them are low, and Hydration is at full health, Jake. This could go either way.
Hydration kind of baiting his team here, but he's got the HP lead to work with, and if he can just take down Zachary, big HP lead on Trill, he should have an advantage here in the 1v1. Oh, it's very close, actually. Both Hammonds on almost the same HP.
A lot of damage, under 100 for each, and Trill wins the long-range battle. The Dallas Fuel secure it, and yes, this one is going all the way. The Houston Outlaws have not yet secured themselves a map pick in the Battle of Texas next week, and they seem no closer to it after dropping a strong early lead in that 3 versus 3, and neither team is going to change their rosters, Jake. They're going to go back in, run it up with the same players.
I have to agree. I feel like the Fuel had a great read on strategy this series, and that's what gave them that first round win, running the Hanzo Zen into the Tormana Rissa. Just gave them a great setup to get ahead there.
And of course, that Hanzo pick early on from Zachary, that was frightening there. The Outlaws were not ready for it. Sometimes Hanzo produces headshots and insta-kills out of essentially nowhere. You just don't see it coming, and then all of a sudden you've lost a player. And playing one player down in 6v6 Overwatch is incredibly difficult as it is. Teams really struggle to bring that back. It's almost an early indicator of a lost fight to be a player down. In 3v3, that feels so much worse. That feels so much more oppressive for you. And we saw that happen there on multiple occasions. And of course, a quick shout out, a big shout out though to HEB. Thank you for making this Lone Star Showdown possible. Much love to you guys. And again, lifting up some of our fantastic players here on the Houston Outlaws and the Dallas Fuel respectively. And it all comes down to this. You got what you paid for, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't pay for anything, but you're getting plenty. Now we go to a decider 3 versus 3, and the map will change to Black Forest, which we have not seen a 3v3 on quite yet. So stick around, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back from the break, the conclusion here of our final 3v3 will be upon us. We are rapidly approaching another of the famed battles for Texas. The Houston Outlaws and the Dallas Fuel will go head-to-head in a 6v6 under competitive rules to decide the current ruler of Texas. But before we get there, there are a couple of details to iron out. The matter of who will be choosing map number 4 in that series is still up and questioned. Jake, so far, the Outlaws haven't got any map picks yet. They've made it close in this series of 3v3s as we head into Black Forest. They need to win here, otherwise it'll all be Dallas deciding how that series goes.
Yeah, definitely, and they really want this win. If they can win the best of 5 here on Black Forest, that does get them a map pick, gives them that little foothold that I'm sure they're hoping for going into that 6-on-6 battle for Texas coming up next week. Dallas, though, they're looking hungry here. They want blood. They're trying to get that entire defeat here, go for the complete sweep, get all the map picks for themselves. Hydration, Rockets, and Blase bringing the comp that they've seen so many times before. Lucio Ryan Rush, though, coming in.
Look at this aggression, the speed boost from the Lucio now. Body grenade on Trill. He might need to play a little bit less aggressively. They still get good damage on Hydration, who's so low, and Raucus can't keep him up quickly enough. They push into the low room, still looking to find the kill on the Orisa, but Hydration is quickly brought back to health. And a triple bio nade from Raucus. Now the shoe's on the other foot. Dallas Fuel scrambling, trying to get away, trying to get back to safety. Trill charged away, his shield is broken, and so is his spirit. He's down, and now it's only 2 left for the Fuel. Zachary heads for the heals and leaves Crimzo to fall off the map. And this one will be over in 2 shakes. Over-committing with the Dallas Fuel.
Oh, that was a beautiful bio grenade by Raucus. Triple nade. Best you can get in the 3-on-3. That's all over from there. Zachary's going to take a nice off the map. Got to respect it.
That was brutal. And that's what happens. You play a Reinhardt composition. Your team has to play fairly close together. And that makes you susceptible to an area of effect ability like a biotic grenade. Nasty stuff. And the Outlaws get what they wanted. Bait Dallas in, get the first round on the board here. They want that map pick, but there's even bragging rights amongst these matches because some of these players are getting the chance to play the 1v1s and 3v3s, a little bit of internal rivalry across these teams. Here we go, though. It's going to be the Echo Mercy combination coming out from the Outlaws.
Oh, I think Echo is going to be so deadly on this map. You can fly over the roofs and just have total control of the map. Immediate bombs onto Crimzo, trying to force the immortality field as soon as possible here. Dallas Fuel have control of the house, but the point is outside, so if time goes on indefinitely, the Outlaws will have a major advantage.
Well, those first sticky bombs definitely force the Fuel to play inside. Oh dear, interesting position there from Raucus. He's able to fly by without taking too much damage though. And Hydration's just trying to knock around the Fuel, maybe knocking down the trapdoor at the lower levels here inside this room. Charge from Trill, he's hit with the sticky bombs, doesn't find the charge, but he backs away and gets healed up underneath that immortality field, which has now expired. Hydration slowly getting healed up, and these teams are about to clash once more.
The big thing to watch here is Blase's ultimate. I think he should copy Reinhardt in this situation and just give his team a massive edge. Going to be able to get a shatter almost instantaneously with that copy. And if that comes through, Fuel, they're going to have their work cut out for him. Going to have to somehow manage to burst him down. Nice blue belt on the Trill. Oh, and he's bursted!
He didn't have the opportunity to go for a duplicate. That would have been the game turner, but Zachary catches him with the Helix Rocket. Resurrect. That's clutch from Raucus. He puts his team back on the map, and now it's a Reinhardt on a wrecking ball. They need to find a kill, though. Need to use this window with Blase transform, but he gets nothing for it. It's all gone wrong for the Outlaws now, and the points unlocked. Trill and Crimzo will proudly erect the flag for Dallas, and they will wait for the Outlaws to meet their end.
Minefield, though, almost ready for Hydration. He wants to turn this around. He's just a little bit of charge. Gonna try and drop it and zone the point off potentially.
Trill destroying the mines as he can. Needs to be careful not to get knocked off the map. Blase is only a sliver of health. He's so low and they couldn't get to the point in time. The idea was there, but the Outlaws weren't able to capitalize. They'll still have an opportunity to play that Echo composition going forward, or does the Fuel have to retire that 3-piece comp?
Still, that's great from the Fuel. That kill from Zachary onto Blase was a complete game changer. Even though Raucus comes through with the res, that was the perfect moment for Blase to copy the Rhine. And by the time he does get the Rhine copy off, Crimzo has already repositioned, already in a much better spot to deal with it. And now Fuel, they're running a comp that I think will do even better against this Echo. The question really is, can the Outlaws take down Zachary on McCree? If McCree falls, then Echo has pretty much free reign on the map. But until that moment, it's going to be McCree who's dominating the airspace.
Blase needs to be careful. He will be forced to land awfully quick if that McCree gets him in his sight. So now it's slow play from a composition that normally actually pans out much more aggressively. Hydration's put to sleep on the wrong side of the map, though. Blase now is trying to keep the Roadhog of Trill away, and it works out. They buy enough time for Hydration to rouse himself, and Blase noticed that Zachary wasn't looking in his direction. He gets some early damage. This will put pressure on Crimzo's healing resources. And Blase now is trying to play safe as he can, but he's down to 3 health now. Sticky bombs on Zachary, but it's not enough. The McCree finds the kill. Trill off the map, though. It's a 2v2. The tank is now down. What a big mix up here. Hydration, though, is on his own. It's just him against Zachary, the 1v1. Zachary is low. 185 health.
One flash
It's
could end
tense.
it.
A Deadeye as well. Doesn't have to be channeled for too long. Could also give a free reload to Zachary.
Zachary's
Hydration needs... Hydration needs shielding. He should be okay. Zachary is definitely in much more danger right now, but one flashbang, just one, before the shield of Hydration is activated, could end it as well. It may come down to fighting on the point. It is a game of cat and mouse now, or both are mice, really, if you see it that way. A game of chicken, that's better.
I think
Zachary.
Hydration's the cat in this circumstance. He's got the third-person peek, so he's able to take a look at Zachary's position without exposing himself, and Zachary doesn't have the same luxury, so Hydration could be anywhere from Zach's perspective.
That's true. In ball form, Wrecking Ball can see around corners. His perspective switches to third person. Here's the Deadeye. So this will force Hydration out of line of sight. There's no way Hydration will peek this. This is ridiculous.
Hydration wants to wait for his next shield. There's no way he's going to peek with the other shield here. But Zachary could easily two-tap him at this range. 30 HP.
That's clever. Zachary, 24 health. Point is open, but neither player is ready to push it. Okay, one more shot would have done it. Zachary lets it go, and Hydration had 7 health. It doesn't get much closer than that.
What a round from Hydration. First he boops the Roadhog off the map, then he slams and finishes off the Ana, and then that crazy clutch. Great work by him. He's got the value generation over time that McCree doesn't have. If Hydration just peeks with his shield every 15 seconds, it is a long cooldown, but what can Zachary really do about that? He can't push in, or he's an easy pick. Just great work by Hydration closing out that round. That's exactly what the Outlaws need to get a map pick here.
Just using every tool at his disposal, Jake. Not only the third-person view, but also his adaptive shielding, and then knowing how to close the gap and end it. Fantastic. Hydration takes an early smattering of damage from the sticky bombs on high. And you can see the Trills trying to get up behind the Outlaws here and shake them out of this quite strong defensive position.
Still, once again, it's going to be the Echo who have pretty much free reign on the map. So Zachary's poking from the side here. It's so difficult for this soldier to pick him up. Zachary was able to do it before against the Echo, but Blase, it's very tough. He's got to pretty much land that rocket, or it's pretty unlikely the burst will come through.
Yeah, that's how it happened last time. Zachary, though, still playing outside, doesn't want to challenge Blase up close, and you can understand why. Blase might catch him here. Helix Rocket chasing down. Sticky Bombs. Biotic Field thrown down by Blase, and that wins that duel out. And this is danger now for the Dallas Fuel. The Outlaws look like they might finally be taking one of our small team challenges. It's just Emergency and a Wrecking Ball left for the Fuel. Crimzo might have to pull out the Caduceus Blaster, Jake, and get to work on doing damage.
They need to hit the res. It's going to be an absolute necessity here. Doesn't seem possible, though. Looks like the Outlaws are cleaning this up. Might be able to get their first map pick in this series. Trill on a couple HP to try and stop it, and no, it is the Outlaws securing at least one map for the next 6-on-6 series coming up.
Insane stuff, and finally the Outlaws, like you said, get themselves a win and get themselves a map pick. Now, it's a little bit awkward for the Outlaws to secure the pick in map number 4 because they don't get there if they lose the first 3. So they still need to win a map of Dallas Fuel's choosing, but the map pool in Overwatch isn't that big, and all of these teams have strong core competencies on those maps. Their set plays are also been prepared. So it'll be a small advantage to the Dallas Fuel, but ideally not a huge swing, and these two teams will still get to play under match competitive conditions like they did in the Overwatch League recently. But we've got to see a little bit more of that action, Jake. That was incredible. I know we've got a Jack Link's play of the game up here, and this is Hydration going against Zachary.
That was such a great moment, Zachary. I mean, what could he really do there? Hydration in control of the circumstance. He's got the third-person camera to get an eye on Zachary preemptively. He's also got the shield to get value over time. So Zachary just had not quite enough HP, and I can't believe the Hydration won that on 7 HP. It could hardly be closer. But the Outlaws, that's exactly what they had to do, securing it, getting themselves a map pick. And I'm glad, personally, as a fan of the Outlaws, but also as a fan of the series, I want it to be close. And I don't want Fuel to have too much of an advantage. Still, 3 map picks for the Fuel. It has to be said that they came out on top of these small team challenges.
Yeah, and they earned it as well through the 1v1s and the 3v3s, and that is a Jack Link's Insta replay that I'm not going to forget for a while. Those are situations you don't actually get in 6v6 play because the format differs so greatly from lockout elimination. Those 1v1s where neither player has any healing left, the tension is high, and all you have to rely on is that raw skill. So great that we had an opportunity to see that, and now this only really builds excitement for me some blood has been shed, but these two teams are now going to take their beef out to the battlefield when it comes to the Battle of Texas next week, Jake. That is going to be another exciting one, and we have no idea what to expect, seeing both of these teams play each other so close only so recently.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to see the 6-on-6 from these teams. That was the most fun in the Overwatch League when they matched up. That was the most fun match I've seen, I think, all season long. At least for me personally, to be able to cast it was a joy. So to get more of that action, yeah, keep it coming.
That's it. It's been an absolute pleasure. A big shout out, of course, to Samsung and also to the Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws for having myself and Jake here. And if you are local to the Texas region and you want to see some of this action, be sure to tune in to WFAA 8 in Dallas and KHOU 11 in Houston at noon on Saturday to find out what the winners of our series choose to do with their map picks and catch the docuseries about the Lone Star Showdown. Let's have a look at what you have to look forward to next week. Of course, our third and final week of the Lone Star Showdown, where everything comes to a head. Once again, the rivalry between the Fuel and the Outlaws boils over as we hit the 6v6 competitive format in the Battle for Texas. It all goes down here. Bragging rights, a fantastic trophy, all of that stuff on the line, and neither of these two teams want to give each other an inch. Want to take this opportunity once more to thank our presenting sponsor, Samsung, for making this all possible. A great opportunity to see the best of our Texas teams, not only in the Overwatch League, but now outside of that in a grudge match just for them. And I hope you fans over in Texas are getting behind your teams on social media as well and supporting them as they will go head-to-head next week. Jake, thank you so much for coming on board. It's been a pleasure to have an expert and, of course, an Outlaws alumni with me. And I hope you're excited for next week's matches.
I am, Uber. It's been great to be here. Great to see these teams in the small team challenges, but I'm really excited for next week. That's going to be where we get to see the real champion of Texas.
That's it. Next week, be there, be rootin', be tootin'. The Battle of Texas kicks off 7 days from now. We'll see you then. The Houston Outlaws and the Dallas Fuel wish to thank Samsung for presenting the 2020 Lone Star Showdown. Follow us over the next couple of weeks to see who is named the top Overwatch team in Texas. If you're a Dallas Fuel or Houston Outlaws fan and wish to support your team, there's still time to order this season's team jersey or merchandise. Be sure to check out the Fanatics shop at overwatchleague.com and receive a 25% discount today.
Woo!